friends. Welcome to another adventure with fantastic first grade frogs. Today, we're going to take a look at our wonderful little caterpillars that came to us not that long ago, and they were this big. They were very small, only a centimeter long. But, caterpillar's job is to eat. And you know what happens when you eat? You get bigger. So we're going to put up the caterpillars here so you can see what's been happening with them. Now, they started out, of course, as you can see, kind of small, but they were eating that green mashed up leaf stuff at the bottom of their cup. Just like they would out in the wild, they would actually eat their leaves. And they would eat, and they would eat, and they would eat. And after a while, of course, they would get a little too big for their exoskeleton, so that would split, and they would molt, and they'd get a little bit bigger on. And they'd be feeling mighty fine. Well, we're going to watch while we read today what's going on with the caterpillars. Now, mind you, friends, this is sped up film. So this is hours and hours of caterpillar film over several days to show you what they were doing for days in their cup. And we really had to speed it up because you didn't want to watch days worth of caterpillar video, trust me. So we sped it up so it'd be really fast so you could see what caterpillars do when nobody's watching. So you can watch them up here while I read the book. So we're going to start out with just a book about butterfly life cycle. And the author's name is Jeff Bauer. This book happens to be about a different kind of caterpillar than we have, but we'll read about our kind of caterpillar in a little bit. Butterfly Life Cycle by Jeff Bauer. This has a table of contents, and it tells us that we're going to read all about butterflies. We're going to read about egg to caterpillar, chrysalis to butterfly, and all grown up. So we're going to read about all those parts today. Chapter 1, all about butterflies. Look, it's a butterfly. This book will tell you all about the lives of these beautiful bugs. Butterflies are insects. They have 6 legs, just like ants, grasshoppers, and ladybugs. So here's a butterfly, here's an ant, a grasshopper, and a ladybug. So just like ants, grasshoppers, and ladybugs, they do have 6 legs and some antennae and 3 body parts. Butterflies have 4 wings. Each wing is covered with thousands of tiny scales. The scales give butterfly wings their bright colors. Now you might be thinking to yourself, 4 wings? Really? I don't see 4 wings, but they do. This is a wing, this is a wing, this is a wing, and this is a wing. So each one of these parts is a separate wing. So they do have 4. They also have eyes, antennae, and of course their body, the 3 body parts. Butterflies drink their meals through a thin tube called a proboscis. Their favorite meal is nectar, which they suck up from flowers. Remember, nectar is that sweet juice that's found inside of flowers. It says a proboscis looks like this close up. So it looks like a little straw all rolled up. Now think about it. If you had a long, thin tube sticking off your body way off like this, it would be kind of hard to fly, wouldn't it? Yeah. So butterflies keep their proboscis rolled up in a roll in front of their face. And then when they come to a flower, and they like that flower, they'll roll their proboscis out, suck up the nectar, and then roll it back up and fly to another flower. Pretty cool, huh? Butterflies come in all different colors. Some have spots, some have stripes. Some seem like they have painted wings. But butterflies do not begin their lives looking this way. Let's take a peek at the life cycle of a monarch to see how they grow and change. So in this fast fact box, it says there's 17,500 kinds of butterflies. How do you think the ones here got their names? We have a tiger butterfly. Kind of tigerish, isn't it? An 89 butterfly. It really does have an 89 in its pattern on its wing. An owl butterfly. Like an owl eye. A peacock butterfly. An emerald butterfly. Wow, how nice and green that is. A zebra swallowtail butterfly. and a glass wing butterfly. We can see right through its wings. How cool. Chapter 2, Egg to Caterpillar. A female monarch lays an egg on a leaf. The egg is tiny. One egg is about the size of a period at the end of this sentence. So that itty bitty dot right there, that's how big the egg would be. Now in the picture, they've taken a special camera and magnified that image of the egg. It says some butterflies lay more than 1,000 eggs during their lives. So this picture of an egg right here is way bigger than it would be in real life. So is this one, of course. After a few days, the egg hatches. Out wiggles a hungry caterpillar. First, the caterpillar eats its own eggshell, then it starts munching leaves. It says newborn caterpillars look like this. They're very tiny, and of course they love that eggshell first. And then of course they can start on the leaf. Crunch, crunch, crunch. The caterpillar keeps eating and growing and changing. It starts out small and white, but soon it becomes long and covered with colorful stripes. It says monarch caterpillars only eat milkweed plants. Now, this is not what our caterpillars look like. As you can see, ours were black and spiky, and they had kind of little yellow dots on them in some places. So our caterpillars are painted lady caterpillars. They look completely different from a monarch caterpillar. Monarch caterpillars eat milkweed plants. Our caterpillars did not eat milkweed plants. They ate a different kind of plant. And remember, the mom butterfly lays her eggs on the kind of plant that its babies need. So this butterfly laid its egg on a milkweed plant so that its caterpillar could eat the milkweed plant. After about 2 weeks, the caterpillar takes a rest. It attaches to a twig or leaf and hangs upside down. Something amazing is about to happen. Now, we can see this caterpillar is hanging upside down. We call this stage kind of the J stage because the butterfly is making kind of a J with its body. It says monarch caterpillars have 16 little legs. Now, in the picture up above, you can kind of see our caterpillars starting to go into that position. Can you see that? We have caterpillars up here going into the J. They're hanging from the top of the container. And it's kind of hard to see the J part because they're hanging away from us, but you can see the J on that one. And they're wiggling a little bit as they're doing this. They're starting to think about, it's almost time to form the next stage. So when they go into their J, it's time to really start paying attention. Chapter 3, Chrysalis to Butterfly. The caterpillar becomes a wrapped up package called a chrysalis. Inside the package, exciting changes are taking place. The chrysalis turns from a green to a clear, and presto changeo, the caterpillar has become a butterfly. So this is what it looks like. As the caterpillar is hanging in a J, it starts to form this chrysalis. This is not a cocoon. A cocoon is what moth caterpillars form. We do not have moths, we have butterflies. Butterflies form a chrysalis. So you can see in our picture that our butterfly, or our caterpillars, are starting to do the same thing. They're hanging, and they're starting to think about forming their chrysalis. Now one of them is hanging a little bit lower than the other ones. It had a little bit of extra thread. And you can see the one up at the top that's wiggling a little bit. So they do wiggle for a while, and they kind of wiggle around and they hang there, but pretty soon that chrysalis change starts to take place and it forms a hard shell, not real hard, not like an egg from a chicken, but a hard-ish shell around the outside called a chrysalis, and that's going to protect them for the next couple weeks while they change into a butterfly. So you can see in the picture that that one in the middle is kind of wiggling a little bit. It's actually starting to form its chrysalis right there in the picture. Let's take a look. Pretty fascinating, isn't it? Now you can see the one in the middle and the one up front have formed their chrysalis. The one on the left is actually forming right now as we're watching it. And it's still kind of wiggling and squirming a little bit, but it's forming its chrysalis, its hard outer covering. And isn't that nifty? We get to watch. Wow. Now, keep in mind, friends, they aren't wiggling that fast in real life because we have speeded the video up quite a lot. But they do wiggle while they're doing this a little bit. And even in the chrysalis can wiggle. So they do move, but not quite as fast as the video is showing you. Fascinating, isn't it, to get to see this change taking place. Now here they all are in the cup, and they're just hanging there. Now all the chrysalises have formed, and it's kind of hard to see the ones in the back, but all the chrysalises have formed. We can see they're kind of shiny, kind of a golden brown shiny color, and they are all hanging from the top. When that happens, for us in our classroom, we can't keep them in the cup because, well, a butterfly wouldn't want to live in a cup. So we are going to have to do something about that. Out in the wild, they would be hanging under a leaf somewhere where they were safe, where the rain wouldn't fall on them, and they would be making their change for a couple of weeks in that chrysalis under a nice safe leaf, or maybe right up next to the trunk of a tree, or one time even on the side of my house, a chrysalis was formed in a nice safe place where they will escape the eyes of a predator. But in our classroom, we can't leave them in that cup. So here I am a couple days ago, taking them out of the cup, and you have to do this very carefully because if one falls off, it probably isn't going to make it. So we have a special little stand that I'm putting them in, and you can see the middle one is wiggling like crazy. That's the chrysalis telling us that it doesn't want to be eaten. It's wiggling to try and scare off predators because it doesn't know that we're not a predator. Here's the butterfly net that we're going to stick it into, and I'm just showing you that. In the bottom of the butterfly net, we're going to put some paper towel. And this is because at the end, when they come out of their chrysalis, when they emerge as a butterfly, it can get a little bit messy, and a stuff called meconium is going to come out, this red stuff. It's not blood, it's just all the parts that they didn't need when they were becoming a butterfly. But it's going to come out, and it can get a little bit messy. So we put that in the bottom, and then we're going to put them right into the butterfly net so that when they come out, they'll have some room to move around. They won't be stuck in that little cup anymore. Of course, I'm closing the top. We don't want them to fly around the house. And now they are all safe in their butterfly net, and now all we have to do is wait. While we're waiting, let's read. So guess what happens next? The butterfly breaks out of the chrysalis. Then it unfolds its wings, which are soft and damp. The brand new butterfly waits in the sun for its wings to dry. Then flutter, flutter, away it flies. So this part is the part where we might get some red stuff that comes out. Remember, when a caterpillar goes into its chrysalis, it doesn't really look anything like a butterfly, right? It doesn't have a proboscis, it doesn't have any wings, and so it has to completely remake its body. Inside that chrysalis, it kind of turns into caterpillar soup. It's almost as if you took some Legos and you built yourself a Lego, let's say a Lego train. And then you decided, well, you didn't really want that Lego train. You wanted it to be a plane. So you put it in a bag, you shook it all up and took all the parts apart, and inside the bag it reformed into a plane. And you take it out and you got a plane. That's kind of what's going on. The caterpillar inside that chrysalis, it's still alive, it's not asleep, is doing a lot of busy work. It's reforming its body. It turns like into a caterpillar soup in there. All the parts are taken apart and then they're re-put together as a butterfly instead of a caterpillar. Isn't that cool? So when they come out, some of the parts that they didn't need to be a butterfly are going to kind of drip out a little bit. And this is the part where that would happen. And you can see its wings are kind of not very pretty at this point. They're kind of wet and droopy, and they don't really look very good. Sometimes they'll fall on the bottom of the container and they'll flop around, but they'll also be really trying to pump blood into those wings and straighten them out. And sometimes they'll flap a little bit, and that's them just trying to dry their wings nice and straight so that they can fly in another hour when their wings dry. It says monarchs flap their wings 5 to 12 times a second. And of course, that's once their wings are dry. But in the beginning, when they first come out of their chrysalis, they have to wait a little while for their wings to dry nice and firm and straight. So let's review. This is a life cycle review. Do you remember the 4 main steps in a monarch butterfly's life cycle? Take a look. The first day, the female butterfly lays an egg on a leaf. Then in a few days, it says 4 here, a caterpillar hatches. It grows and grows. And then after about 2 weeks, a caterpillar becomes a chrysalis. And then at about a month old, the butterfly breaks out of the chrysalis. It says the life cycle of a monarch butterfly lasts for about 1 month. Chapter 4, all grown up. In fall, monarch butterflies do what birds do. They fly south for the winter. This is called migration. Some monarchs go to California and some go to Mexico. Along the way, they rest in trees. And you can see when they rest in trees, wow, it almost looks like the tree is a butterfly tree. How cool. And the map shows where monarchs migrate. Some travel 3,000 miles. That's a really long way. In early spring, the monarchs fly back north. A female lays an egg on a leaf. Then the butterfly life cycle will begin all over again. It says monarchs are poisonous to birds and other animals. Their bright wings say, "Don't eat me." And that's true with a lot of creatures in the wild. Their bright colors tell other animals, "Don't eat me. I taste bad. I could make you sick." Right now we're going to look again at another caterpillar book, but this one is more about our kind of caterpillars. It says From Caterpillar to Butterfly, and the author's name is Deborah Hilligman, and the illustrator's name is Barry Weissman. This is about some kids, kind of like us, and they get some caterpillars. Today a caterpillar came to school in a jar. It is eating green leaves. It is climbing and wiggling. This tiny caterpillar is going to change. It will change into a beautiful butterfly. Caterpillars usually turn into butterflies outdoors. They live in gardens and meadows and yards. But we will watch our caterpillar change into a butterfly right here in our classroom. This change is called metamorphosis. When a creature changes from one thing to another, it's called metamorphosis, just like when our tadpoles change into frogs. It's metamorphosis. Our caterpillar started out as a tiny egg. The mother butterfly laid the egg on a leaf. When the caterpillar hatched out of the egg, it was hungry. It ate its way out of its own eggshell. Then it started to eat green plants right away. A caterpillar's job is to eat and eat and eat, so it will grow and grow and grow. Right here there's some words around the edge of the leaf, and it says the mother butterfly lays her eggs on plants that the caterpillars will eat. These are called host plants. So the host plant is the kind that it will eat. Each day when we come into school, we look at our caterpillar. Each day it is bigger. Our skin grows with us, but a caterpillar's skin does not grow. When the caterpillar gets too big for its skin, the skin splits down the back. The caterpillar crawls right out of its own skin. It has new skin underneath. This is called molting. Our caterpillar will molt 4 or 5 times. And remember, it's not exactly their skin, that's their exoskeleton. After many days, our caterpillar is finished growing. It is much bigger than when it first came to school. It is almost as big as my little finger now. Our caterpillar is making a special house. First it makes a button of silk, and remember, we're making those webs in the jar, remember that? So that's their silk, and so they can make that little button of silk to glue themselves to the top of the container, or to a stick, or to a piece of bark, or to a leaf. It uses the button to hang upside down from a twig, then it molts for the last time. Instead of a new skin, this time there is a hard shell. This shell is called a chrysalis. Remember? Not a cocoon, it's called a chrysalis. Our caterpillar will stay inside the chrysalis for a long time. And this is more like what our chrysalises look like. Ours are not green, they're sort of a brownish color, and they're bumpy. Every day the chrysalis looks the same. We can't see anything happening, but inside the chrysalis our caterpillar is changing. Will our caterpillar ever turn into a butterfly? Will it ever come out of its chrysalis? We can hardly wait, but we do. We wait and wait and wait. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're waiting and waiting and waiting. Then one day during snack time, somebody shouts, "Look!" And we all rush over to see. The chrysalis is cracking. We see a head, a body, and then wings. It's a butterfly. And once again, the wings are very wet and very floppy. They're not straight and pretty like a butterfly. But that's just the beginning. A tiny caterpillar who came to school in a jar turned into a painted lady butterfly, and we saw it happen. Our butterfly is damp and crumpled. It hangs onto the chrysalis while its wings flap, flap, flap. Blood pumps into its wings. The wings straighten out and dry. Soon our butterfly will be ready to fly. And it takes about an hour or so for those wings to dry, but it will look like this when it's done. That's exactly what ours will look like. Our butterfly cannot stay in the jar. It needs to be outside with flowers and grass and trees and other butterflies. It is a warm spring day. I put my finger into the jar. The butterfly sits on my finger. I pull it out and our butterfly goes free. We feel a little sad and a little happy. And eventually that's what we'll have to do with ours too. We watch our butterfly land on a flower. It will sip the flower's nectar through a long coiled tube called a proboscis. Maybe it is a female butterfly. Maybe someday she will lay an egg on a leaf. I know what will happen then. That egg will hatch into a caterpillar, and that caterpillar will turn into a beautiful butterfly. And it says painted lady butterflies sip nectar from certain flowers. They like thistle, burdock, zinnia, butterfly bush, and mint. So those are the kinds of flowers that they especially like. How many different kinds of butterflies can you find around your neighborhood? Here are some common ones to look for. So here's that monarch that we just looked at in the other book. A black swallowtail. We have a lot of swallowtails around in our area of the world. A cabbage white, and there's lots of these in the grass around our school and around your house probably. This is a dog-faced butterfly, a common blue, and a buckeye. There are many places that you can see butterflies. And so you can definitely go to a butterfly house to see butterflies from all over the world. But right now, we're looking at our butterfly that can actually live in our part of the world. And of course, it isn't quite time yet. They're still in their chrysalis. They look like they're sleeping. They look like they're doing nothing. But they are not doing nothing. As a matter of fact, if I bug them a little bit, they'll probably wave back and forth and say, "Hey, don't eat us," because they don't want us to disturb them. But if we wait and wait for about a week or so, our little chrysalises are going to emerge and out will come that beautiful butterfly. So I'll let you watch them for just a minute after I go. You can watch and see what they do, just sitting there being chrysalises. And soon we'll have those beautiful butterflies, and then we'll get to take them outside and let them go free. It's been fun having this adventure with you, friends. I'll see you next time.